Welcome everybody to the June 25 Council meeting, where we acknowledge and respect our complex history and we welcome everyone to build our future together. Live streaming. Please note that this meeting is being live streamed, recorded and published in accordance with the Council's live streaming and recording of public meetings policy. To those present in the gallery today, by attending a public meeting of Council, you are consenting to your image, voice and comments being recorded and published. Anyone who is invited to speak will be recorded and their voice, image and comments will form part of the live stream and recording. Thank you very much. Elected members' declaration of interest. I haven't received any. Public forum. I have spoken to a couple of members of the public down here and I think there might be an opportunity at another time to have a discussion around renewable sites around the district. Petitions and deputations. Item 4. I welcome Brett Rumble from Wattle Range Funerals. Brett, welcome.
Thank you.
The floor is yours.
Thank you.
Oh,
Sorry. Just speaking on the topic that came up at your last council meeting to do with the burial fees. So thank you for the opportunity to speak tonight. I come before you not only as a representative of Wattle Range Funerals, but as a community member who, like many others, was deeply saddened and frustrated by the recent council decision not to waive cemetery fees for stillborn babies and children up to the age of 10. At Wattle Range Funerals, we don't charge for funeral services for children up to the age of 15 years, and that's not a business decision, it's a human one. We do this because we recognise that no family should have to think about money while navigating the raw, unthinkable trauma of losing a child. Unfortunately, despite waiving our own fees, we are unable to absorb council cemetery costs. This means that grieving families who have already endured what is arguably the most traumatic experience anyone can live through still receive the bill. When this issue was raised for consideration, many in our town had hoped for leadership defined by compassion and moral clarity. Instead, we saw 6 councillors vote against waiving the fees with only 3 in favour. That decision has caused a groundswell of public disappointment, and rightly so. We heard arguments suggesting that waiving fees for children, you could somehow be suggesting that their grief is more important than someone else's. This is not a hierarchy of grief. This is about recognising that certain losses, specifically to the death of a child or stillbirth, are profoundly unique in their emotional impact and deserve equally unique responses. We also heard the suggestion that these families could simply apply for hardship. With all due respect, this position is not only tone deaf but bureaucratically cruel. Imagine asking a newly bereaved parent still reeling from shock to gather documents and prove their financial status to justify why they should be allowed to bury their child without a bill. Bureaucracy has its place, but not here, not in moments like this. Some councillors spoke about fiscal responsibility and the costs involved in maintaining cemeteries, and I don't dispute these costs, but we need to put things into perspective. It's been noted and not unnoticed by the public that following each monthly council meeting, the council enjoys a dinner at ratepayers' expense. Now compare that with the potential cost of waiving cemetery fees for the handful of families each year who experience the heartbreak of burying a child. Would that cost even match the dinner bill? And if it did, what does that say about our values if we're willing to spend on ourselves but not help those in their darkest hours? We're a community that prides itself on being better by nature. That's the council motto. It's printed on council materials, it's shared on your website, and it's something that the community sees as a reflection of who we are and aspire to be. But mottos like values only mean something if they're lived. This council cannot rise to the moral standard required in moments like this, moments where compassion must triumph over process. Then I ask, are we truly better by nature, or is it just a slogan? Let's remember the role of local government. You're not just stewards of policy, you're the face of leadership in times of need. Decisions made in this room ripple outward. They affect real people in real time, and they influence how our community sees itself and how it's seen by others. True leadership is not just about managing rates and overseeing roadworks, it's also about doing the right thing, even when it's uncomfortable. Even when it's not in the budget spreadsheet, especially then. You have to be given you've been given power to make decisions that reflect who we are and what we value as a district. The decision not to waive these fees has deeply disappointed a large proportion of the community, but it's not too late. The power is to fix this is still in your hands. I'm asking you to revisit this matter, to listen to the voices of those you represent, to consider not only the financial implications but the human cost. This is a test of empathy, a test of whether we as a community can be kinder, more humane and more in touch with those amongst us who are hurting. We at Wattle Range Funerals are committed to doing our part. We've waived our service fees for children up to 15 years for quite a few years now, quietly, without applause or headlines, because we know it's the right thing to do. And we're asking you to meet us on the path of compassion, join us in lifting some of the burden from the shoulders of grieving families. Let's ensure that we say better by nature, it means more than good air and open space. Let it mean we are better people to kinder, wiser, stronger in our care for one another. Please reconsider. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Rumpel. And the council, the elected members, will be meeting on July the 1st with Olivia Savas, who was the chair of that select committee, and she will be able to fully inform the council around the select committee's decision in that respect, and we'll see what transpires from there. Thank you very much. Item 5, confirmation of council minutes. Would someone like to move that the council minutes of May are a true and correct record? Thank you, Councillor Crosling and Councillor Dennis. All those in favour? Would someone like to move that the minutes of the special council meeting held on the 3rd of June 25 are taken as read and confirmed as an accurate record of proceedings? Councillor Turner, Councillor Rayner. All those in favour? Carried. Thank you very much. Did we vote on the first one? Yes, we did. Sure. Carry. Thank you. Good. Thank you, Yana. Item 6, matters laid on the table. There being none. Item 7, I tabled my report. And finished up acknowledging that we've had a little rain. For those of us who have been privileged to travel further afield, to be quite frank, it's quite dire in many parts of the states and of the state, and it's still very dire in our region, and it's been very tough within our community, having lost a couple of very cherished people in the last month. The last one we put to rest yesterday, the most recent one we put to rest yesterday. I move my report. If there's any questions, I'm happy to answer, or a second to please. Councillor Maguire, second. Thank you, Councillor Maguire. All those in favour? Thank you very much. Carried. Elected members report. There being none, but I'll ask Councillor Grundy if he could reflect on Chris. Goodness gracious me.
Thank you, Mayor Ross.
Thank you, Councillor Grundy.
Look, I'd like to acknowledge the recent unfortunate passing of Chris Johnson, who was a valued member of the Naracoorte and Lucindale communities. I spoke to Doc about saying a few words tonight here. He told me that back in the day he had been approached to stand for council, being the Lucindale council then. Reluctantly, Doc declined due to farm commitments. However, he suggested that he did know of someone who would stand, and that was Chris. Doc said that was run past Ralph James, who fully endorsed the prospective councillor. And I said to Doc, was Ralph James still involved in the Lucindale Council at that stage? And he said, no, that's just what we did back then. Everything got run past Ralph James. Ralph was obviously the anointed one. Chris stood and was elected and was the First Lady Councillor at Lucindale Council and went on to become the First Lady Chair of the Lucindale Council. Chris was involved with many committees, including the South East Natural Resource Consultancy Committee, and was a board member of the Animal Pest Plant Board in Adelaide, which was at the time when calicivirus was introduced to South Australia. Then Premier Rob Kerrin was on many of those committees with Chris, and he certainly endorsed her abilities. One of the more difficult council issues Chris had to navigate in her role as the Lucindale chair at the time was the amalgamation of the Naracoorte and Lucindale councils, with many in the community having strong views on that topic. Friendships were strained. All up, Chris served 18 years as councillor and chair, with the last 12 months or so as part of the newly amalgamated Naracoorte-Lucindale Council. Chris was an influential elected member who always said what she meant and meant what she said. Chris will be missed by her husband Doc, her children, her grandchildren, and the whole Naracoorte-Lucindale community. Thanks, Mayor Ross.
Thank you, Councillor Grundy. Councillor Grundy, if you could apply that and we'll put that in the minutes, please. Thank you very much. Item 9, Chief Executive's Officer's Report. Kelly.
Thank you, Mayor. Just one item for decision tonight around Community Engagement Charter. So I think Council may have discussed this previously, and really this is just to let you know that the Community Engagement Charter that's been designed by government has come back to us for final feedback. So I'm hoping that you've had a chance to look at the charter and you'll just delegate to myself and Josie, naturally, to just provide any feedback on the details of that charter. Importantly, we can't see anything in it that's going to seriously disrupt anything we're already doing. We're pretty much already aligned to the charter, so I think it's just business as usual from our perspective. Thank you. Any questions? Welcome.
Any questions? Councillor Turner.
No, I was just reading that motion again to make sure.
You will recall that there was quite an issue following. I was spoken with Mrs. Collins following the election, and there was it was quite confused at that time and caused quite a lot of angst in the chamber, and hopefully they will get that under control and let us know. Thank you. Would someone like to move that the council receive and notes the CEO's report for June? Councillor Dennis. Councillor Downwood, all those in favour? Carried, thank you. Would someone like to move that the council receive and notes the information regarding the new local government community engagement charter? Councillor Turner, Councillor Dennis, all those in favour? Carried, thank you. 10, key projects. Mr. Willsmore.
Thank you. Just wish to add for members' benefits, the sale yards we've been undertaking the mandated sheep EID infrastructure upgrades. So I just want to acknowledge users of the facility, vendors, agents and the like, for their patience while we continue our weekly sales while we're upgrading these works. We undertook some training with staff and agents today, so we'll have over 50% of the scanners online for the July 1 date, which is when the system needs to be online, so we won't need to undertake any hand scanning at the facility. They'll be able to run through those drafts that will be online.
Thank you, Mr. Willsmore. No questions? Thank you. Have we nearly completed our works for the year, Mr. Willsmore?
Thank you. Yeah, all construction's finished, so Pioneer Park car park in on Moore Street, that was completed last Friday. So bar some of the construction at the NRLE I just discussed, all outside construction's been completed for the financial year.
Thank you very much. Item 11.
Thank you, Mayor Ross. Just something to add to tonight's report. Last Friday we were advised that we are receiving 50% of our financial assistance grants in advance. So today we got advice that 1.67 million has been transferred. So now we're looking at 50 in advance and 50 in the new financial year. Happy to take any questions.
Thank you, Mrs. Edmonds. Any questions? Refinance? There being none, thank you very much. Item 11.2. Who's going to take the lead there? Mrs. Edmonds. Thank you.
We're at the finish line. This is the easiest part of the budget process. So, as per our previous discussions and special meetings, the few changes were made based on the additional contributions made towards Francis or Border Districts Netball Club and Lucindale Lions. Those amendments have been made in the final draft that we're looking to endorse tonight. We also have a recommendation based on the notice that needs to go into the Gazette around our statements, our rate in the dollars, etc. So happy to take any questions.
Thank you, Mrs. Edmonds. We've spent a long time during the course of the year discussing the budget. Councillor Dennis.
Move the first motion.
Thank you, Councillor Dennis. That the annual business plan and budget for 25-6 is adopted. A seconder, please. Councillor Turner. All those in favour? Carried. Thank you very much. And it follows on the adoption of the assessment, which is comprehensive. I'd ask someone to move. Councillor Turner, thank you very much. A seconder, please. Councillor Ireland. All those in favour? Councillor Dennis. Absolutely.
I won't take too much of everyone's time because we've all done a lot of work on this and done a wonderful job, but I just wanted to commend the efforts of everyone in this room to deliver this outcome. I was deeply disappointed with the commentary in the local Narrow Court News, which continues to sensationalise this budget. And I think everyone in this community needs to be aware of everything that's happened in Robe and Kingston today with their jetties washing away and their beaches washing away, and the challenges that councils face is that if we are not financially responsible and deliver financially responsible budgets and run a financially responsible balance sheet, we open ourselves up that when something does occur out of the blue, we are not in a position to be able to deal with it adequately. So I'd just like to commend everyone in the room and commend the budget.
Thank you, Councillor Dennis, for those kind words, and I agree entirely. I have a mover and a seconder. All those in favour? Carried. Thank you very much. Item 12, minutes and recommendations from council committees. Item 12.1, Narrow Court Regional Livestock Exchange Board. Would someone like to move that the minutes of the meeting held on the 4th of June? Thank you, Councillor Grundy. And Councillor Grundy, I know that you like to speak to it.
Well, thank you, Mayor Ross. So, just can I give a brief report? We had a meeting, an NRLE meeting on Wednesday, the 4th of June. We were lucky enough to have a walkthrough and saw the commencement of the new EID infrastructure taking shape. Other parts of the agenda and the reports included that the usage, cattle numbers will be very strong for the end of the financial year, while sheep numbers are roughly in line with the 5-year average. Another topical issue out there has been the ponds desludging, and that's taken place and has been quite a success. And part of that's the new truck wash delivering a preferred outcome in that there are far fewer solids and sands making their way into the settling ponds, which is delivering a preferred result for the whole outfit. Thanks.
Thank you, Councillor Grundy, and I ask Mr. Willsmore to pass on our hearty congratulations to the team out there at the sale yards. A seconder, please. Councillor Ireland. All those in favour? Carried. Thank you. I'd ask someone to move that we add the annual CPI of 2.5 be added to the canteen lease at the sale yards for 25-6. Councillor Downwood moves and Councillor Grundy seconds. All those in favour? Carried. Thank you very much. Item 12.2, audit and risk. I'd like someone to move that the minutes of the audit and risk of the 10th of June be read and noted. Councillor Ross, thank you very much. And Councillor Turner, second. All those in favour? Carried, thank you very much. Reports for decision. Item 13.1, resolution register.
Thank you, Mayor Ross. This monthly report was provided for the first time last month, so items accepted as complete at last month's meeting have been removed from the spreadsheet, and that will continue to happen moving forward. It's just really an information report, so I commend the recommendation to you.
Thank you, Mrs. Collins. It's great to have something we can, look at and see what's coming and what's moving or not. Would someone move that we receive and note the resolution register? Councillor Crosling, I apologise. Councillor Crosling, moved. Councillor Dennis. All those in favour? Councillor Goodman's not here. 13.1, policy review. Access, yes. Kelly.
Associated with this one. This is pretty straightforward. You've had this policy in place for a long time. It's a mandatory policy, so no real material changes, just a few minor tweaks here and there. Thank you.
Thank you, Kelly. Can I just make a point that if there are any changes to any policies, can we just have them, highlighted in within the draft, and that'll, if there's some substantive changes, that'll make it a little easier for the elected members to recognise. Would someone like to move that we adopt the access to council and committee meeting documents code of practice? Councillor Turner, Councillor Crosling. All those in favour? Carried, thank you. Reports for information as presented. Thank you. (14.2) for information, Mr. Willsmore.
Yes, that's just a summary of the road closures we've undertaken, so we just provide a summary each year.
Thank you, Mr. Willsmore. 14.3, planning and compliance. Mr. McCroskey.
Thank you, Mayor Ross. As per the reports written, you may have noted we've had a spate of vandalism of late to a number of our assets within the Narrabeen Accounts area. We've been fortunate enough to ascertain who the perpetrators were, and we've managed to press charges with SAPO as well, so that's been a good outcome as a result of our CCTV footage. You will note, as part of my report, there's a recommendation there in regards to the swimming pool and building policy. We only recently endorsed that back at the March Council meeting, but as a result of the State Planning Commission, they updated their practice directions, and therefore the flow and effect, we had to adjust our policy. So there's just a recommendation before you to endorse. Fundamentally, it's still the same, it's just aligning to the State Planning Commission's requirements.
Thank you, Mr. McCroskey. Are there any questions? Being none, would someone like to move that we endorse the building and swimming pool inspection policy? Councillor Dennis. Councillor Turner. All those in favour? Carried. Thank you very much. Here we go. 14.4. Is that where we are? Community engagement report. Mrs. Collins.
Thank you, Mayor Ross. Only a very quick update from me. Jane Ellis, our Arts and Cultural Facilitator, has mentioned in the report about work starting on the mural in the back cave, which is the children's area in the library. That's actually beginning tomorrow. So we'll all look forward to seeing that evolve in a very, very public space. That project was funded through Council's Community Art Fund and is being done by a South Australian artist, Nicole Black. So it will be good.
Thank you, Mrs. Collins. Nicole Black seems to be a preferred local artist.
I'll just
Councillor Crosling.
make a couple of points. In the event, it's been quite a busy time for Council, and I just wanted to say thank you to Council for allowing a number of community events to be held in the Town Hall free of charge, which to a lot of community groups is quite a huge deal. So a couple of the things that were on were the the Scene documentary. This was a sold out event, so over 200 parents attended this event. And I'd just like to also thank Mr. Chris Maley for putting on the community forum towards domestic violence. That was another really well attended event. I also, with a few community members, want to thank Kelly and Josie and Alex for helping facilitate the Fill Your Silos sessions, the mental health and wellbeing sessions that were held here in Naracoorte. Myself and a couple of community members got together and we were fortunate enough to be able to get Steph Smith, a psychologist and farmer from Wells End, to come down and facilitate some sessions here in Naracoorte and at Lucendale, and it wouldn't have been possible without the support of Council and Preventative Health South Australia, who paid for all of those sessions. So they were free, they were really well attended. Following on from your comment in your Mayor's report, we've seen quite a spike in suicide, and you know it's still going to be tough out there for months to come. So I think anything that we can do as a council for the wellbeing of our community, we should be trying to do whatever it is, whether it is small events, large events. There's funding out there, so I think along with the Naracoorte Suicide Prevention Network, they are doing a lot of events over the coming months. So again, get along to them. The majority of them are free, and they're just a good touch point for the whole community. So I just wanted to say thank you to Council for assisting with those Fill Your Silos events, because yeah, they were really well attended. So thank you.
It's a pleasure. Thank you, Councillor Crosling. Item 15, publications documents, they're being done. 16, questions with notice. We had some questions with notice which have been responded. Thank you very much. Item 17, motions with notice. Councillor Ireland, would you like to move your motion?
Yes, if I could move it as written, please. That would be great. Do you wish me to read that motion, or are you happy with it as
I
written?
wish you to move the motion and then you can talk to the motion.
Right. Well, if I may move, I
Yes.
wish to talk, please.
Thank you.
I mean, I think we've touched on, we're vaguely aware of some of the costs looking forward in our budget and also in the financial year we're in, where we've got Grub Road, 139,000 for design, railing down the Gap Road Bridge. We've got bridge works, changes to intersections, road changes such as the McMillan Road, etc. That we've got engineers and consultants employed for. Consultants are called upon for a range of advice across many projects, and just for us as elected members to be aware of and the options looking forward to try and reduce these costs if at all possible. I think it'd be great to have this information available to us, please.
Thank you, Councillor Ireland. A seconder? Councillor Grundy. Is there any further discussion?
I just got questions. Is where do you think, just because you're going to get the costings, what are you proposing through the chair? So.
Yes.
Thank you, Maris. I'm not proposing anything at this point, but if we're looking at consultancy, whether we can trim that back in what shape and what way and form we can. As far as engineers go, are we better off to look at the potential of sharing the employment of an engineer that can cut some of these costs back? I mean, just Grub Road, for instance, at 139,000 for the design of that road in 1 year. I just think we need to look at it as potentials.
I think Councillor Ireland, here, many's the time that the cost is within the project cost. And so Councillor Ireland's asking to dissect that out so it can be seen as an item and therefore as a line cost.
Question, has
clarification?
Councillor Ireland spoken to some of the staff previously about this? Because it's something that we have gone down before previously. We've looked at putting staff on to actually have those qualifications. It's not something that is easy to find. I just think, if you want to go down and go, fine, but I just thought, you might have actually had some of these questions answered if you actually had spoken to some of the staff. That's all.
Thank you, Councillor Ross. Councillor Dennis, you had your hand up.
No, I don't think I want to speak on it at the moment.
Thank you very much.
Councillor,
Sure.
Through you, Mayor, I think it's perfectly reasonable for a council to ask to look at this sort of information, and Councillor Ireland did speak to me about this motion. I haven't had the insight that you may have had into past discussions about this, but I'm confident we can pull the information together and also address Councillor Maguire's question in the same report as well.
Very good. I have a seconder. If there's no further discussion, I put the motion. All those in favour? Motion's carried. Thank you very much. Item 18, questions without notice. Item 19, motions without notice. 20, matters that the CEO recommends in confidence. There is one. At item 20.1 is around bitumen works. I thank you for your attendance in the public, and the public meeting of council is closed. Thank you very much.